Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Om Akhandananda Sambodha Vandanatyasya Jayate Govindam Tamaham Vande Chidananda Tanum Gurum. So yesterday we were seeing jagaddhetostu nityatāṃ sarveshāmapi sammatam jagaddhetutvaṃ asyaiva vāvadīti śrutiḥ. Shruti again and again repeats, establishes that the cause for the creation is this Brahman, asyaiva, this Brahman alone. Asya Brahmana eva, this Brahman alone. And that is what is nitya also. That which is the cause of the creation is also nitya. Now, before I enter into the discussion here, the day before yesterday, while explaining things about samskarya, I was saying something, and after that, while writing, I understood there may be an issue here with respect to the clarity. So I wanted to say that, but before that, today morning, there was a doubt raised by one of my disciples. So that needs to be taken care of also. So I had a plan of explaining it, but there was a doubt genuinely. So that is also to be taken care of. Thing is, I said samskarya purificatory. Okay, for lack of word to translate, we use purificatory, rights. Otherwise, samskarya is not purificatory rights, probably cleansing or cleaning or something like that. Let us come to that. See, thing is, I said an example. Remember this example I said also. The example was, you take gold, you dig gold, you clean it off the earth, dust, etc., and then heat it and remove all the extra useless metals which you don't want in a pure gold. And then when you have that gold, when you want to make an ornament, you add copper or something to it to make it malleable, to make it conducive enough for you to make the desired shapes and strong. So when we add something, see, I can understand when you clean it with water or clean it with fire, it is getting purified. That we can understand. But when we add something to it, how can it be called purifying? That's a question. Actually, we have to understand what this purifying is. It is not gaining the purity, desire, the purity which is absolute, the 24 carats or something like that. When you clean it, you get 24 carats or something. When you add this copper, etc., it becomes 22 carats or something. This kind of gold you can see in the Middle East. When you go to Qatar airport or Dubai airport, you can see on the showcase, they'll have this yellowish looking gold. Okay. So that's a reduced amount of gold, right? So before we understand that, we'll understand. I also gave another example that in the yaga, when we purify the havis, the material we are going to use for the fire oblation, like the rice grain, etc., you sprinkle water, I said. Sprinkled water means we are not going to immerse it in water. The sprinkled water does not even reach all the grains, but still it became purified. At least there I sprinkle some water. That is an act. But there is another activity in the yaga, which is you have the ghrita, the ghee, the clarified butter which you use for the fire oblation. You have to look at it. You have to look at it. Looking at it is a samskara. It purifies. It makes it eligible for being used in the fire oblation. Just looking at it. Okay. So these are the Vedic examples. Now coming back to this. The example in the Vedanta normally is to show this purification. They say jale kataka renuvat. In the water they add this powder called, a seed called kataka. Okay, the powder of the seed or the seed itself, they add it to dirty water. What happens is this seed has the ability to attract the dirt and go and settle down. Because of the heaviness of the dirt, it will go and settle down in the bottom, at the bottom of the vessel. Or, as I was writing, I remembered this water purifiers, RO, etc. So these water purifiers, what do they do? See, earlier in early days, we used to have just a plain cloth to filter the water. Then later we had these 3 layers of water. Like there will be a pot, below there will be another pot, and the final pot will be at the bottom. The top pot will be untreated water. The middle part treats the water. The lower part is treated water. The middle part will have sand and rocks. Then on top of it, you will have charcoal. Okay, charcoal. So the water gets filtered and then comes to the bottom pot, and you can use that for drinking. Now, later they started using something called candle. They'll have this in the water purifier. They'll have to replace it every now and then. Nowadays they have the silica or something, some material they call it membrane and all that. Whatever that is, they say it purifies, and sometimes they give an ad also in the water purifier. They'll say it will add also this what you call minerals to it. The thing is, these water purifiers, water is, whether it is charcoal or whether it is cloth or whether it is candle or whatever it is going to add its own something to the water, any which way, invariably. The hard water is not as hard now, but it is water. Previously it was water, now it is water. So that is the only difference. Nothing really changed. The water became soft and it is now useful for drinking. So that is what I call as śrutiḥ. Śrutiḥ means not purity. Śrutiḥ means vāpyadhvarayajñadānanigamairno. Vāpyadhvarayajñadānanigamairno means being able to use it. Utility, applicability is what is śrutiḥ. Let us forget about this also. I remembered another example while I was explaining in Tamil. This I didn't add. I'll have to add in the book. This is a very beautiful example, in fact. In Noida, etc., high-rise buildings. In Qatar airport also I saw this. The airport, some places where they have this problem, they use this water. What they do is, the water which you use for washing your clothes, washing your vessels, or flushing the toilet, etc., they are all collected in a tank, and they have this water purifying plant which recycles the water and purifies it and sends it back to the flushing tank or to the place where they water the garden, etc. To those, this water is supplied. That is purified water. Purified water, does that mean that we can drink it? No, that is a water which is all your urine and all the filth. That is what is collected and that is getting purified. The water which you use for that gets purified and it is reused for in something else. That does not mean it is purified for drinking. You understand? So similarly here also, applicability, that is what is important. When we say śrutiḥ, it is applicability what we mean, not the purification, pure, etc. ideas. Okay? Now, jagaddhetoḥ nityatāṃ. The cause for the jagat is eternal. That is what the Shruti says. Jagat, the cause for jagat is Brahman and that it is eternal. That is what the Shruti says. In Taittiriya the other day we saw yato vāyamāni bhūtāni jāyante ye na jātāni jivanti yat prayanti bhisamvishanti. And the same Taittiriya it says atmana ākāśa sambhūtah ākāśād vāyuh vāyoragnihi agnerāpah abhyah prithvi prithvyāmoshad, etc. Okay. So that is the cause for creation. And Bhagavan Bhashyakara, he has not written any Mangalacharana in any of his texts, in any of his Upanishads, except for Katha Upanishad, where he says mantra rupa, mantra for Yama. Okay. Otherwise, except for Taittiriya Upanishad, where he writes 3 Mangalacharana. Yasmin jatam jagat sarvaṃ, yasma jatam jagat sarvaṃ, yasminneva praliyate, yeneva dharyate, chaiva tasmai jnānātmane namaha. Yebihi gurubih purvam badavakya pramanatah vyakhyata sarvedanta dhanenityam pranadosmyam. That is also from there. Anyway, yasma jatam jagat sarvaṃ, from which everything came into existence. Yasminneva praliyate, into which everything merges. Yenedam dharyate, by which everything is held together, has its existence sustained. To that knowledge form, to knowledge inherent nature, that knowledge nature itself, I salute. That is what here says. So that is the cause for, that self is the cause for Jagat. Śrutiḥ prak ekmeva dvitiyam, the Shruti also says, before the creation, only the self existed as non-dual. And all this idea, tatsayiva, nityatāṃ, brūte, it is nitya. It is nitya means eternal. Eternal means we are not saying something eternal ideas and all. That's all stupidity, because if there is only self, where can be the idea of eternal and non-eternal and all? Those are all attributes. No attributes. The self does not have any attribute. Nirguna. All these ideas, nitya, shuddha, buddha, mukta, etc., all these ideas are to make you understand the self. That's all. They have nothing to do with the self. They are to make you understand the self. That's what. Okay. So to establish that, he is bringing again the Shruti statement. We gave Shruti statement, but he is bringing it. aitadātmyamidaṃ sarvaṃ tatsatyamiti śrutiḥ asyaiva nityatāṃ brūte jagaddhetoḥ sataḥ sphuṭam. aitadātmyamidaṃ sarvaṃ tatsatyamiti śrutiḥ asyaiva nityatāṃ brūte jagaddhetoḥ sataḥ sphuṭam. aitadātmyamidaṃ sarvaṃ tatsatyam sa atma tattvamasi śvetaketo. It's a one statement in Chandogya Upanishad. To Śvetaketo, his father explains. Etad atma swarupam eva. Aitad atma means atma swarupam. Etad atma swarupam eva. Of this nature of the self, only all these, idam sarvam, all these exist. All this, pot, cloth, etc. are of nature of self. Then, so don't be so mystified, like, then where is the duality of Jiva and Brahman, etc.? No, there is no duality of Jiva and Brahma. Then there is only self. Then how can you say Jiva, Brahma, etc.? It is, we have already explained it, that we call this pravritti nimittaka bheda. This is for application, which is for utility, which is for using, which is for the transactional purpose. We are accepting the duality of pot, cloth, etc. Otherwise, there is no duality here. Okay, since you see duality, we accept it as at face value and we are explaining it. So, tatsatyam, that is the truth. Satyam, we have to understand that word also. What does satya mean? Trikala abādhyattam satyattam, that is how we define satya. Satya means trikala abādhyattam. That which is not negated in all the 3 periods of time is called as satya. Okay, that which is not negated in all the 3 periods of time is satya. And what is satya is nitya also. Nitya means eternal. That which is not negated in all 3 periods of time. That's nitya also. So satya, when I say, we mean nitya. Satya and nitya are not 2 different things. They are one and the same. Like ananda and ananta. When I say ananda, ananta, whatever is limited cannot be bliss. Whatever is unlimited is bliss, right? So here also satya and nitya are interchangeable. They are one and the same. So that is why he says satya. That is why we don't attach too much importance to these words, because these words are for transactional purpose only, not to define the real self, because you are that eternal self. If you are the absolute, where can there be any possibility? Because that's why asyaiva nityatāṃ brūte. Only of the self, the Shruti talks about it as nitya. If something is eternal, how can you gain? Because what we are discussing is, we are not discussing about the Brahman actually here. We are discussing about the Brahman as the cause for the creation and it to be eternal. That's all what we are talking about. Why? Because this discussion we are doing is with respect to uparati. During uparati, we said uparati means sannyasa, renunciation. And renunciation means giving up of karma. And giving up of karma means what is karma? To define what is karma, we said karma is of 4 types. What are they? Utpatti, apya, utpadya, apya, samskarya, vikarya. These are the 4 types of karma. Creation, gaining, creating, gaining, purifying, then transforming. These are the 4 types of karma. And anything that is achievable, that is non-eternal. But the self is eternal. If a self is eternal, it cannot be achieved through any kind of karma. That is established. Now, if the self is eternal, that which is eternal is already gained, therefore you need not perform any karma. If it is not gained, you need to perform karma, but if it is not gained, then it is not eternal. If you say something is eternal, it is already gained. Whether you know or not, it is already gained. That's the idea. So, that is why the Shruti says, na karmaṇā na prajayā dhaneneti svayaṃ śrutiḥ karmaṇo mokṣahetutvaṃ sākṣādeva niṣedhati. Na karmaṇā na prajayā dhaneneti svayaṃ śrutiḥ karmaṇo mokṣahetutvaṃ sākṣādeva niṣedhati. This is a mantra which as a Vedic mantra, which people chant when they receive the sannyasi, when they receive the guru, etc. They chant this mantra, and they have this pot filled with water with a coconut on top of it. We call this purna kumbha. We receive it with that. Okay, we show that, and he touches that. He accepted. That's all the idea is. So you chant this mantra. Na karmaṇā na prajayā dhaneneti tyageneke amartattamā nashuhu. This mantra you say. Na karmaṇā na prajayā dhanena tyagena eva amartattam. Tyagena eke amartattam anashuhu. Okay. And then vedanta vijnana sunischitartha sannyasa yogat yataya shuddha sattvaha te brahmaloke tu parāntaka parabrahmātmatālakṣaṇam parimacchhanti sarve takhranu papam. Like that, there is a continuous mantra. This is important mantra. Na karmaṇā na prajayā dhanena tyageneke amartattamā nashuhu. This is an important mantra. Why do you have to chant this mantra when you invite the sannyasi? When you come into the house will have a plasma TV, the house will have a beautiful wife, the house will have kids, all that. The sannyasi should not feel, oh, if I had not left my house, I probably would have this kind of house, this kind of TV, this kind of beautiful wife, this kind of kids. Not all the wives are beautiful, not all the kids are good kids. That's a different story. Not all the husbands are also. That's a different story. The point is, he should not have any idea. You don't have to put any samskara in his head, right? So you chant this, remind him. For people who need a reminder, this is important. You remind him. Don't get attracted to these things. Because na karmaṇā, not through the karmas. Because karmaṇā eva pitruloko jayah, the world of pitrus, ancestors, remains. They can be gained only through the karma, it is said. Prajayā ayam lokah, putrana prajayā ayam loka. Through this progeny, this world can be gained. Whether you have the eligibility or the eligibility to perform the karma or create a progeny and all does not really matter. The third is dhanena. You won't know. Without money, you cannot work in this world. Yes. So you think money is important. Then dhanena. That is important probably for this world, not for the self, not for the realization, not for the liberation. So all these are not in any which way connected to liberation. Therefore, iti svayaṃ Shruti itself says this, karmaṇo mokṣahetutvaṃ niṣedhati sākṣāt. Directly, sākṣāt niṣedhati, directly negates it. Negates what? Karmaṇo mokṣahetutvaṃ. Karma being the cause for liberation. Tyagena eke amartatma. Then, okay, not with the sun, not with the wealth, not with the karma. Then what is the only way? Tyagena eke amartatma nashuho. You can gain the immortality, the absolute state, only by tyaga. By saying that, the Shruti goes on to say that there can be no possibility of any other activity here. So then he says, Pratyak Brahma Vichara Purvam Bhayoryekat Vina kaivalyaṃ puruṣasya sidhyati parabrahmātmatālakṣaṇam na snānairapi na kīrtanairapi japairno kṛcchracāndrāyaṇai no vāpyadhvarayajñadānanigamairno no mantratantrairapi. प्रत्यक ब्रह्म विचार पूर्वम उभयोः एकत्वबोधात् विना कैवल्यं पुरुषस्य सिद्ध्यति parabrahmātmatālakṣaṇam न स्नानैः न कीर्तनैः अपि जपैः नो kṛcchracāndrāyaṇai नो वा अपि अध्वरयज्ञदाननिगमैः नो mantratantrairapi. So he is making the idea very clear. What is the means for gaining the liberation? Tyageneke. Just by giving renunciation is not important. To stress the point, he says, Pratyak Brahma Vichara Purvam. Through the inquiry into the Pratyak and Brahma. Pratyak means Jivatma. Brahma means Paramatma. You accept the Jivatma Paramatma duality, right? We are not accepting. We said, as we understand it, we are explaining it. Like the pot, cloth, etc. are a utility of duality for making you understand it. That is why we call it pravritti nimittaka bheda. That is the pravritti nimittaka bheda we are accepting in Pratyak and Parama also. Paramatma also. Jivatma and Paramatma also. There is no duality of any kind here. Only through the Vichara Purvam, only through that vina, without that nothing is possible. This is why it is important, because Vedanta is the only means of gaining the liberation. Nothing else can give you liberation. That is why Shruti very clearly says, Nānyah pantha vidyate ayanaya jnānādeva tu kaivalyaṃ, etc. Nānyah pantha vidyate ayanaya, for understanding this. Na anyah pantha vidyate. There is no other path, because all these idiots, they claim with beautiful words, using beautiful English, saying that all path leads to. There's no all path leads to. We are not talking about all path leads to Rome. We are talking about the self. The self, there is no all path. There is only one path, which is Vedanta. Okay, but the Shruti itself says, what does the Shruti say? The Shruti says, Ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti. Rigveda says, Ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti. The truth is one. The knowers, they explain it in different ways. They establish it in. If truth is one and they are established in different ways, that it's not truth. You are talking about the elephant's tail and elephant's trunk and elephant's tongue and elephant's leg and all that, but not the elephant. So you have to be very clear. One thing, if you are clear about, you have to be clear about this, which is there is no other possibility of gaining liberation other than Vedanta. Only from Vedanta you understand what Atma is, what Brahman is, etc. So only that Vedanta which deals about Atma and Brahman can give you the knowledge of Atma and Brahman, not something else. So there is no other path other than Vedanta for gaining the liberation. That is why he says, Pratyak Jiva Brahma Vichara Purvam Ubhayoho Ekatva Bodha Vina. Without gaining the Ekatva Bodha, the knowledge of non-duality of both of them. Ubhayoho. That is why when Bhagavan Bhashyakara is asked, can you write a shloka with 2 lines? Explain what you are teaching us. He says, why do I need 2 lines? I'll make it 1.5 lines. Then he said, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jiva Brahmeko Naparaha. That's all over. The whole Vedanta in nutshell, that is. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jiva Brahma Eko na Aparaha. That is what. Jiva Brahma. Pratyag Brahma Ekaha. Ekatta Bodhat. Na Aparaha. They are not dual. They are not different. So, without that, Vina, puruṣasya, for this person, we already said Purusha is not male. Purusha, this person. For this person, parabrahmātmatālakṣaṇam kaivalyaṃ. The kaivalya, the liberation, which is of the nature of being established, existing as a being, as the absolute self. Being the absolute self, which is the nature of liberation, that cannot be gained through snānairapi, through the bath, bathing, etc. Like you have water, you touch the water, and you have water in a bucket, or when you take water in when you bath in shower, etc., you just have to chant this mantra. Otherwise, if you have a bucket of water, you just touch the water and then chant this mantra. Gange chevane cheva Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Jalespin Sannidhim Kuru, and then you take the bath. Then that mantra, then you are inviting all the deities, all these deities of rivers, perennial rivers, into that water. That means you are doing avahana of those deities, meaning you are taking bath literally in those rivers, all those punya rivers. Okay, now let us not even go into that. Not even mantra snana. We are going to the Ganga and taking bath, taking dip. See, taking dip in Ganga every day is impossible. If you go there once in a while, that's okay. But every day, what happens is, because it's so cold, arthritis and all will affect, and you will have difficulties. So that is snāni, taking bath in Ganges. Okay, Ganga is okay. Yamuna, you cannot find any dirty river like Yamuna. Gangaji, yes, of course. But Yamuna is more dirtier. If you go to Vrindavan and all, you can see, they say in the stories, Krishna sent away Kalindi, the snake. But Kalindi, the blackness still exists. It's like even worse than a sewage water in Vrindavan and all. So that, okay. Apart from that, okay, let us suppose we can take a bath in that. Godavari and Kaveri, etc., they are not in cold places, so we can take bath daily. That's not a big deal. So even if you are going to take dips on these sacred perennial rivers every day, kīrtanaihi, or by singing the praise, we will see what this is. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.